Hey guys, it's Jamie and Christine here with Iowa Diabetes, going live today to talk about inhaled insulin. For those of you that are tired of giving yourself shots, there is something else on the market called Afrezza. It's an inhaler as big as this that can fit in your pocket or a little pouch, and it works similar to mealtime insulin, but it gets you away from the shot.
Yeah, if you're tired of doing shots, there's definitely some benefits to using the Afrezza, and we're going to talk about that today.
Yeah, so just quick background for you to really highlight where the benefits are. So traditional mealtime insulin, which is your shot form, is going to be Novolog and Humalog.
Right.
And then some of the newer ones are Lumjev and Fiasp. They're still really, really good options for many patients. They work within about 15 minutes. Fiasp and Lumjev will work quicker than that. They peak at about an hour, and then they're in our body for roughly 4 hours. So really good options. Afrezza is a little bit different, though. We find it's quicker. So it's more like your Lumjev and your Fiasp, where it's in your body. Right away, within a minute or two, it's starting to work on your sugars to bring them down, which means that meal can be on your plate right in front of you, and you'll sit down, take this right before eating and not have to wait an additional 10 to 15 minutes.
Which can be super convenient, and then you're not having to do injections if you're going out to eat. You know, I have a lot of patients who are either truck drivers or on construction sites, and they don't necessarily have the resources to have a clean environment that they're able to do injections with. So this is also a good option for that population. But what's nice is, you know, let's say you're going out to eat and you're estimating the carbs, but I can say, you know, most diabetic patients have experience where they thought it was so many carbs, but then they do that amount of insulin and they're still noticing a big spike in blood sugar. And so what do they typically do? Then you're stacking your insulins. Well, blood sugars will go down, but then you're finding lows later.
Yes.
Because your typical insulins, you know, because of, you just mentioned that longer duration of action, the food's already gone out of your system, but the insulin is still working. So now you're having lows. One of the nice things with Afrezza is after an hour, if you're still high, you can dose again, but then that's only going to be in your system for another hour or two. And so much less likely to get those lows with having to stack.
Yeah, and they've actually seen that in the clinical trials. So it's not only theoretical with the duration of action. With Afrezza, there is less risk of low blood sugars, which I think with an insulin is awesome.
Definitely.
Awesome. I've also used this in patients that are scared of giving themselves injections. So we've worked with some kiddos that are struggling to get the daily injections, not on pumps, couldn't do them. And this Afrezza is an option because then it's no longer a struggle with them. And I think we are doing a pediatric study with Afrezza right now. So if that's something that's striking home with you, or you know somebody where it's a day in, day out battle, give us a call. We might have some different options for those kids that you're working with.
Yeah, definitely. It's a nice study because everyone eventually gets on the Afrezza. So, you know, for patients who are having a hard time with when they're doing sports and trying to have to like do a snack and then inject, or at lunchroom and or not sure how much they're going to eat. That's a big thing with kids. You might put so much on their plate, but depending on the day, they may or may not eat that. And then you're like, well, how do I dose the insulin? Then you don't want them to go low, but you don't want them running high. This is a really good option for that, especially with the younger population.
And with the faster onset, with this, you can still match the curves so that even if you're taking it a little bit after you eat, you can still get a really good response with this insulin because it's that fast to work. So I think it's really easy to use. I've got this to demonstrate. Really easy to use and very quick to use as well. So this is the actual inhaler. And this is what the cartridges are. So whenever you have these cartridges, they come in units of 4, so 4, 8s, and 12s. And you'll get a whole pack, and that pack stays in the fridge. just like we keep all other inhaled or non-inhaled insulin in the fridge when we're not using it. Once you have a used pen or once you have a used cartridge pack, you keep this out at room temperature.
And is that for like 10 days then? Is that
so if this is sealed, I just opened it. If this is sealed, it's 10 days at room temperature.
Okay.
Once I open this, it's 3 days.
Okay, that's good to know.
And so you'll take this, and then this can fit in a fanny pack. This can fit in a purse. And then you just have the appropriate amount that you need for your day with you. When you put this, it opens. And there's only one direction that this can go in. So this gets put in there. Of course, I struggle right now. But then
only because we're live, right?
It gets put in there. And then I click it down. And then you'll put it in your mouth. You'd think it would go like this, but it's actually a tip down. And so I'm going to breathe all the way in.
Now you may have noticed when she's breathing in, she's doing a slow, steady, but firm breath. One thing that can happen with this, if you do a quick, then there can be some coughing because you're inhaling it too quickly. So in order to prevent that potential side effect, there's a little bit of training on really how to inhale the Afrezza properly.
And so it's that deep breath, and then it's also the tip. If I end up going like this, it gets to the back of my throat, and that also causes that irritation or that tickle in the back of your throat, which then causes you to cough. Other thing that can help with that is taking a drink of water right before and right after. Yep. Clears out your area.
I know with having asthma, that I just do that with my own inhaler because that can cause that to happen. So
and that's as quick. So if I wanted to give myself 4 units, that's as quick as it would be. And so I'm done, and my insulin is taken for now. So
it's super convenient.
Yeah.
Definitely an option. Maybe not an option for everybody. And with it being newer on the market, there can be some struggles with getting insurance to cover it depending on the plan. So that is something, that's
something to check out with your insurance. Many insurances have it on their formulary at a tier 4 or a tier 5. So you may end up having to pay a little bit more than your injected insulins because it's kind of in that specialty area. But there's some coupons available and some other programs to really help with that cost and get the coverage. Right. So you just have to talk with your doctor, your pharmacist, your diabetes educator. All of them are going to have resources that would be able to get you into the program. With it being inhaled, there are some precautions around lung disease, right? So, long time ago,
a few years ago,
10 years ago or 10. So, there was a previous inhaled insulin that was on the market. It was around for, I want to say 3-4 years. It was a big, bulky device, and that exacerbated or caused some people to have lung issues. And so when this came to the market, there was a lot of concern about lung issues and a lot of monitoring around lung issues. We continue to do that monitoring around the lung issues, but this Afrezza has not caused any triggers or any long-term lung damage in anybody that, as far as it's been surveilled. So since about 2016-17, this has been on the market. So nothing has been triggered, which I think is really important to know.
Oh, definitely. I agree. Like I said, the coughing part of it is more of how you use it versus the actual medication itself.
Yeah. But because of that, you may get asked, or your child may get asked to do a quick breathing test just to make sure the breathing is normal before you start. And then a couple of months, 3 months after, do an additional breathing test to make sure that breathing is maintained.
Yep. And that lung function is steady.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Those are the biggest questions and concerns that we hear about it. Send us in your questions. We want to know more about it. We want to give you all the information because it is a really neat product. So even if you're watching it after the fact, let us know. We will respond and let you give you our honest answer.
Right. Yeah, I definitely think it is a good option, especially for certain people and their lifestyles. So Like Jamie said, send us some comments below. And if you want more information, we can help reach out with you on that as well.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy the beautiful spring weather.